Hi everyone, welcome to Merge Minis where we explore our view on contemporary trending topics.
Yes, definitely. Good night. And tonight is no different. We have a hot topic that has been ubiquitous in the media houses this week. As long as you're not living under a rock, you're supposed to know about this one.
All right, it's been on social media, Instagram, WhatsApp. Memes are being made about it. That is...
Karina, I'll give them a hint.
All right.
I'll give you all a hint. If you know what this is, you'll know who we're going to talk about or what we're going to talk about. All right. So we're going to talk about this. This week, we're going to talk about who, Karina?
We're going to talk about Big T.
Big Terrance.
Terrance.
You know, the name Terrance this week has been terrorized.
Oh, yes.
I'm sorry for all those other guys who are named Terrance. I do apologize on behalf of all of our society. But Karina, give us the 411, the scoop, however they say it in contemporary society. Give us the lowdown on what's taking place with Terrance.
Well, basically, in a nutshell, Terrance was caught on camera.
Jesus.
Well, basically, his wife brought the news to himself and his family that Terrance has been allegedly cheating, and that.
I find you taking your time around.
Yeah. I don't want to bring it off too harsh now. Basically, his wife confronted him through a recorded video that he has been cheating, and she had all of the evidence. She said she didn't want to confront him unless she had cold hard facts, which she said was shared by an anonymous person. Now Terrance, as you kind of pose up like that, when Terrance was hit with the accusation, he couldn't move. He was like a deer in the headlights. Basically, he took it all in, and this has been all over social media. There was a clapback by the person who was accused or that Terrance would have cheated with on social media, and then Shania. And then a little while after, some days after, we see that the video was not intended to be posted. At least that's what the lawyers for Terrance would have said. The video wasn't intended to be posted. It was posted, and then we see a picture circulating with Terrance and his wife, who would have accused him. They are together. It looks like a drive-thru of some sort, with the drive-thru attendant posing and taking a selfie with them. So it seems like things are on the mend, and of course, this spread like wildfire throughout. And persons are saying on social media, don't get involved in married people business. We are here to talk about this situation.
No, Karina, I to be honest, I'm laughing here, but it's a serious matter.
It is.
Terrance got so much licks throughout this week that I started to feel sorry for Terrance and all. Guys, please forgive me. I felt sorry for Terrance. Of course, the situation is not one that we're happy with. If it is in fact so, Terrance would have cheated on his wife, and according to the allegations, got another woman pregnant. And all while his good wife was there preparing and ironing his uniform for work, etc. Being a goodly wife at home, or at least that's what is purported. And we don't want to support that type of behavior in any way. But at the end of the day, that man gets so much power on social media. I started to wonder if he'd need a mental health expert to speak to.
Errol Fabian would have chimed in and said, this is not to condone what Terrance was doing. But because the pressures on social media can be so all-encompassing and really penetrating through social media into the individual psyche, it can pose a lot of pressure. Gone are the days where you do something, social media didn't take it on, and you just live your life with the consequences, and those are wrong. But now it's like the whole of Trinidad and Tobago and the wider society down your back.
And guys,
no privacy.
And guys, as we speak about the pressure of social media, we really feeling under a burden. We really under strain. We need you to like this video. Please share this video in your circles, in your networks, and subscribe, of course, to this channel, because we have a lot of more content. We want to build an audience, and we want to go together with you. But back to the topic at hand. Terrance, as the information came, of course, in the courts of public arbitration, persons had their opinions from the very get-go. Persons were saying give them a 5 days, give them a 9 days, Terrance and his wife will be back together. And many persons in society frowned upon something like that. And some would even want to ridicule his wife Renee for getting back involved with a man like that, even though she was a husband. What do we have to say on that? That's what we hear about this evening.
Well, basically, we give them the quick and dirty.
Yeah.
Basically, because we are Bible-believing Christians and we support what the Word of God says. The Word of God actually, with regards to divorce, it says, because of the hardness of man's heart, that God would have permitted divorce due for reasons only adultery. Now, that didn't come across in the best and smoothest way, right? But for adultery, that is what God would have permitted divorce for. And for those of you all who don't know what adultery is, right? For those of you all who don't know what adultery is, Terrance would have committed adultery, right? So in this case, whether male or female commits adultery, that is what divorce is permitted for because of the hardness of man's heart.
So based upon the Word of God, we're saying tonight that if, I don't know the religious affiliation of this couple, but based upon the Christocentric worldview, that they are free, based upon the Word of God, to have a divorce.
Yes.
However, the Bible does tell us in Matthew that Jesus was speaking and he said to the Pharisees, Moses allowed this because of the hardness of men's heart, but it was not so in the beginning. And so what we want to encourage is that persons are not supposed to just be looking for a get out of jail free card. You're not just supposed to be looking for somebody to slip up to and say, all right, cut it, I'm going to leave the relationship. Now we admit here that there's a slight dichotomy at play here that can be tricky. Because Karina, the question is, do I stay and somewhat feel like I'm enabling this type of behavior? Like I'm accepting this, like I'm lowering my standards? Or do I do what Christ would advise that we do and forgive 70 times 7? There's a story in the Bible of God talking about Hosea and Gomer, God telling the prophet Hosea to go against his wife who was whoring down the place, forgive my language, guys. That's the Bible. She was very promiscuous and God was telling her to continue to pursue this woman.
God was telling him to continue.
God was telling him to continue pursuing this woman. Not that that is an example for marriage.
Right.
It is actually an example of how God pursues us.
Right.
God pursues the woman, the church. But there are lessons that we can take inside of there for our marital relationships, which is the same way God pursues us, we ought to pursue our spouses, because God did say, the Bible did say, husbands, love your wives as Christ loved the church.
And gave himself.
And gave himself for it. And so we see the symbolism here, just giving you a quick crash course. The woman in the Bible prophecy is the church. And God is saying, husband, love your wife as Christ loved the church. He told Hosea to continue to pursuing after this woman, to be relentless. And so the lesson is for us, when we are loving our spouses, to love as Christ does, to be relentless, to not give up. Now, I don't know at what point enough would be enough.
Right. So with regards to that, and I think that it all depends on the spouse, the two spouses in the relationship, and their personal walk with God. It's a decision that has to be made very prayerfully and very carefully. And in matters of this, you have to really seek godly counsel.
Definitely.
Because at the end of the day, while yes, you are pursuing your spouse, however, if the behavior becomes one that is unbearable with regard to sexual immorality, it is not that you have to stay and remain in the relationship and take that and swallow it because and then you feel trampled upon. I don't think that is what God wants of us. So that is not what we are saying in this video. We are actually saying that because of the hardness of man's heart, that the bill of divorcement was granted for adultery. However, if you believe under prayer that you can work out your covenant relationship with your spouse, then so be it. If you believe conversely that you cannot, under prayerful consideration, with your
selfless consideration,
and counsel that you cannot work it out, then so be it as well. So I think that's important that we present both sides of the experience.
I know that so be it would shake up some of the Christian sensitivities as it relates to the matter of marriage and divorce. But the reality is, God designed marriage to be an image or reflection of the unity of the Godhead. Marriage ought to point persons to Him, to Christ. And God did not permit it that divorce should happen. But because the love of many has waxed very cold, there are certain circumstances where after you would have prayed, after you would have tried, after you would have agonized, because some persons have to walk that dreadful course. So the summation of what we're going to say concerning Renee and Terrance, should they stay together, should they make back up, should they break up, you just say, mind your business. That's none of our business.
Very well summarized.
We trust that they would get the resources, that they would get the help that they need, and we trust that I don't know if they have children. Yes, they do. Yes. I trust that they would work things out in the best way possible as God has their guide. If any one of us, any one of you are having struggles in your relationship as well, remember, God never permitted for us to have divorce. But because of the hardness of men's hearts, sometimes in certain situations, after godly counsel, but ensure that you're getting godly counsel and that you're working towards happy, healthy relationships.
Yes.
God continue to richly bless us. Stay tuned for our next episode, which is next week. And if you missed the Merge podcast last week, surviving a sexless marriage, go take a look at that video right now. Have a blessed evening. Good night.
Good night.